going to talk about the 3 best REITs to buy and hold in 2024. But first, if you haven't catch our last video where we talk about how interest rate cuts are going to benefit Singapore REITs, click on the link on the right to find out more. With that, let's go. Alright, let's do a quick recap of the REITs criteria that I like and why I choose them before we go into the 3 best REITs. So number one, favorable sectors. REITs are all about properties, but they differ greatly among different sectors. So personally, I like REITs that can ride with the wave, the growth trends, right? Like such as e-commerce, logistics, data centers, and hotel lodging. Okay, so number two, gearing below 40%. Although the MAS government sets a cap of 50% gearing, it's better to be safe than sorry. Okay, a headroom of around 10% allows for a certain buffer that you can either have the property values drop a bit, or the REIT property manager may go for some potential acquisition if the macro environment goes well. Number three, the cost of debt, okay, below 4%. Personally, again, I feel that when banks lend you money, right, they would have already done all the credit analysis on the REITs. Hence, if the properties that you have are of higher quality, the tendency for banks to give you a lower cost of debt is higher. Okay, so that means if you can see that the REITs with certain sponsors, right, they tend to have lower cost of debt. That's the reason why. And number four, around 6% distribution yield. With all the rage on high yield money market funds, T-bills, chocolate finance, etc., I want to be well compensated for all the research and hard work I'm putting into doing the research on REITs. So I feel that at least a 6% yield is a good number, lah, at least for me. Okay, so without further ado, let's jump into the 3 REITs that I like based on the 4 criteria. Okay, the number one REIT is none other than CapitaLand Ascott Trust. So this is their first quarter 2024 business updates. Right. First thing first, I like the REIT because it is a lodging trust. Okay, and this is the largest one in Asia Pacific. And you can see how they have hotel lodging, right, all over the world, going from US to UK to Japan, Australia, and Singapore. So personally, I've stayed at the Singapore Ascott properties for quite a few times, and both my kids like it a lot. I don't know whether it's the professional setting, or is it that it's close to shopping malls that they can just have a walkway and walk over there and things like that. But the overall feeling that I have as compared to other hotel staycations that I have, Ascott gave me the best memorable ones lah. Okay, so that is my own personal experience. All right. So on top of that, they are slowly going into longer stay accommodation using the student accommodation, right, and the rental housing. So this gives them more some sort like stability, is resilient and stable income base, and also counter cyclical. But at the same time, they have all these service residences and hotels that are beneficiaries of the travel recovery. And we all know that travel is the in thing now. Everyone is traveling and all that. Okay. So the growth trend is there. Okay, for Ascott Trust. The second thing that I want to share is the gearing. Okay, and the capital management. So let me go to the capital management. Okay, and over here you can see that their NAV is 1.13, and right now, at the time of me doing the video, it is trading at around 90 cents. So it's 0.7 times price to book. So it's below one times price to book, which is good. The other thing is that their gearing, okay, is 37.7%. So below the 40 percent benchmark that I'm looking at, with a 3% per annum borrowing cost. So again, below the 4% that I'm looking at. All right. And last but not least is the distribution yield. So with that, I will go to the Simply Wall Street and go to CapitaLand Ascott Trust. Okay, and let's say I go to the dividend portion, you can see that their dividend yield right now is sitting at 7.3%, which is slightly above the 6% that I'm looking at. And another bonus or something that I want to share, right, is if you look at their valuation, okay, price to book is 0.7 times. And if you compare it to their peers, so right now, CapitaLand Ascott Trust 0.7 times. It is very close to other hospitality trusts, okay, like CDL, Far East, and Frasers. So if I were to pick one hospitality trust, of course, CapitaLand gives me the branding, the sponsor that I'm looking for lah. Okay, so this is the first REIT that I have. Of course, I want to share this platform called Simply Wall Street with you because I feel that this is a very powerful investing tool I have been personally using and it can really help you as well. Okay, so now let me scroll down to the stock reports, and you can see here that there are various metrics that can really help you to save a lot of time when doing stock research. For example, you can look at the past profitability or revenue trends over the years. Okay, see how the revenue after they deduct the expenses and things like that, then what are the earnings. Okay, next up, you have the valuation and comparison. You can estimate what is their valuation from the platform itself. So what is the fair value, as well as you can compare it to their peers, okay, in relative to their peers, based on price to earnings, price to book, and things like that. Dividend quality. Okay, so if you are into dividends, you will be able to see the dividend trends. Okay, so whether the dividends per share has been going up, the yield is it stable or growing, and things like that. In addition, you can check out their management team profile, right? See whether the CEO, how many years has they been in the company, what is their compensation, their salary, as well as their ownership stake in the company. On top of all these insider transactions, whether they are buying aggressively, okay, either into the company or selling out when things are bad, right? So on top of that, right, if you go to their platform, you can actually check out a lot of stock ideas based on their Discover tab. Okay, so over here you get like high growth tech and AI stocks, undervalued small caps, dividend powerhouses, oil stocks, renewable energy, and more. And now talking about the pricing portion, I would highly recommend you checking out the premium plan. All right, this gives you enough company reports, portfolios, and stock screeners to work on. And if you want, you can check out my affiliate link here down below in the description box as well to get a 14 days free trial and at the same time support my YouTube channel as well. So with that, let's get back to our two other REITs that I am looking at. And now onto our second REIT, we have Frasers Logistics and Commercial Trust. Okay, so looking at the name itself, you know that they are into logistic properties as well as commercial properties. Okay, so with that, let's look at their portfolio profile. Okay, so they have 112 properties diversified across various countries. So Singapore is only 10%. Okay, so Germany is actually 25%, and Australia is the most at 48%. So on top of that, 71% belongs to the logistics and industrial sector, which is what I am looking at. Again, coming to the capital management, they have facilities in place for debt maturing in 2024. Okay, their aggregate leverage is only 32%. A very, very big debt headroom until 50%. And I think this is one of the REITs that have the lowest gearing ratio. Okay. On top of that, their cost of borrowings is also very little, only at 2.5%. If you check out other trusts, other REITs, they are moving to 4 point something percent. So this is like half of that. Okay. A trailing 12 months, 2.6%. On top of that, right, interest coverage ratio 5.9 times, very very healthy, and they are also moving into the green financing, which typically is a good thing to do. Maybe comes with lower interest rates and stuff like that. So it hits our both our criteria lah. So the gearing is below 40% and the cost of debt is below 4%. And now let's take a look at Simply Wall Street again for their um, dividend yield. Okay, so dividend yield around 7% still makes the mark above 6%. Same thing if I go for the valuation comparing to other trusts. Okay, so other industrial trusts like Mapletree Logistics, Sandas, ERSR Logistics, I would say roughly there 0.9 times compared to the peer average of 1 times. So now let's move on to the third REIT. And if you have enjoyed this video thus far, I will greatly appreciate it if you can help me to smash that like button, subscribe to my channel and ring the bell so you get notified every time I release another stock analysis video. Okay, the last one that we have is none other than Mapletree Industrial Trust. Alright, so they have also a lot of properties, 140 of them. Wow. And I like them because they are also in the industrial sector, but more importantly, they are into the data centers. And with all this data boom, AI requiring all this data, social media also using a lot of data. This is the circular trend that they have to ride on. And I'm pretty happy that Mapletree Industrial Trust have already pivoted to these data centers long time back. I think a few years back, and they have just slowly get got more and more data centers, and right now it's sitting at 54.8%. Okay, so 46% in US, 5% in Japan, 3% in Singapore. Okay, so among all the other business parks, industrial buildings, and all that, data centers actually contribute more than half of their property right now. Okay? Again, so their aggregate leverage ratio is 38.7%, um, comfortably below 40%. Okay, so they have the ability to pursue growth opportunities. Um, a lot of the borrowings are in USD as well, so they have this hedging in place already lah. Okay, um, so on top of that, their interest coverage ratio is sitting at 4.5 times, also pretty good. Cost of debt, another thing that I look at, right, is also below 4%, which hits all the rule of thumb that I'm looking at. Now let's move on to Simply Wall Street, where I look at their distribution yield. Okay, and right now it's sitting at 5.9%, slightly below the 6% that I'm looking at. But given their quality of properties, they are going into data centers and all that. I do like my odds here. I don't mind getting a slightly lower. It's just 0.1%, so it's still okay. And the dividend yield forecast going forward will be more than 6% as they increase their DPU. Okay, and last but not least, also looking at the valuation portion, right now it's 1.2 times price to book. Okay, and if you compare it to the peers, of course, it may be slightly higher because of the Mapletree branding, the sponsor and everything. It is higher than IMS, APEC, even their own Mapletree Logistics Trust, as well as Sabana REIT. Same comparable as CapitaLand Asanda's REIT. But what I want to check out is actually the trend, okay? Their own trend for Mapletree Industrial Trust. And over here, okay, so I don't know why it went to zero. Maybe they don't they cannot get the data or something like that. But over a 5 year period, right, if you look at Simply Wall Street, they are always trading at around 1.6, 1.5 to even 1.9 times back then, before COVID lah, or around COVID. So right now, it is sitting at 1.2 times. I don't think it's very excessive yet. Maybe it's fairly valued, but if they can continue to do well, increase the rental rates and stuff like that, it will be a very stable trust to watch out for. Okay, so this is it for the three REITs that I have for you. Wrap up, what REITs do you own other than the three I've just mentioned? Share your thoughts in the comments down below. With that, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe as I'll be posting 2 videos every week. Thanks for watching and invest safely. Bye.